And I think we're back. Welcome back to another, episode of Bitcoin Generations. I'm Bet. I'm Bodie. Easy for me to say. I'm Bodie, and I'm your host for another episode of helping to try to get baby boomers off of zero and understand Bitcoin at least a little bit, and also for new Bitcoiners. So we got hopefully some interesting things for you today on Bitcoin Generations. Anyway, I'm just kind of some housekeeping stuff. Just so you know, it's allergy season here, and I've got a lot of allergies that just kind of like popped in and like said hello, and I'm kind of like dealing with that. So I may have to mute myself and go off camera for a second here, since I'm kind of one of those guys. It's a mindset of the show must go on, and I'm happy to be here, but sometimes, you got to kind of struggle through stuff. So with that, I will say that really happy to also say that I got through some technical challenges this week. And anyway, internet's up and running, and it looks like the show is going forward, and we're rolling. So let's not waste any time and get right into it. I wanted to kind of the theme of the show this today is it's not if what, but easy for me to say, not if but when Bitcoin. And so we're gonna kind of cover that in several different ways, really thinking that a lot of things are coming that are going to be very good in Bitcoin, and very good for holders of Bitcoin. And so that's why the underlying message always is to encourage baby boomers, but anybody who's interested in Bitcoin, who is even curious about Bitcoin, to continue your education. That's part of what we're doing here, is try to bring some value, bring some education for you, to understand this asset that we're looking at. And it's really important to do the research so that you understand why, and build the conviction why it is important to have and to hold onto it. And I'm going to make several analogies today. One of them is going to be sort of like a homesteading kind of journey, and the parallels in Bitcoin. Building your homestead, building in Bitcoin, building a lot of that stuff. So that's going to go down that rabbit hole just a little bit, and kind of briefly kind of talk about my journey in homesteading and my journey in Bitcoin, parallels, and the lessons learned there. And also going to also discuss kind of more like right now, some of the newer resources that I found that have been, I think very, very helpful and very interesting, that I would like to share right here. So with that, we'll just kind of jump right in. Okay. This week, I learned about two new resources here. I'm just going to kind of share my screen and show you. Gonna talk about this one first. So I thought this one was pretty interesting. This is bitfeed.live, and you can check this out. It's we've been to on this show, we've been to mempool.space before, but never have we really ever kind of like seen other things that are similar to that. And I would say that this one is somewhat similar. It's maybe graphic representation of that. I'm just going to introduce you to this as it was just recently introduced to me, but we're going to, this is, I guess, put together by someone named Mononaut. Mononaut, thank you very much if you're watching this. Thanks for this resource. I have a lot more research to do on this, but as you can see, it's sort of like snowing transactions, And at a certain point, this block right here will go away and gets mined, and a new block uh, gets kind of put in its place here. Like all this stuff down here below, all this kind of like goes right up into that orange block there. So I think this is very interesting, this graphic representation of this. I really appreciate uh, Mononaut for that. And I'm not sure, but I would think that this is a open source developed project here. So thanks again, Mononaut. Obviously, we're seeing here, you can run this on your own node. Um, and this is a little more advanced for people who are not familiar with Bitcoin. But again, something that I wanted to kind of share because I just learned about this week. And kind of taking my time getting through this. Yes, Bitfeed is funded by the community. So you can make a small donation. And let's see if I click on that. I could go to, I could be a supporter. You can kind of like, you can donate 100 sats, looks like, if you wanted to, all the way up to a lot of sats if you wanted to. Enterprise sponsor. Wow, that would be huge amount of Bitcoin. Okay, so yeah, you could be a community hero or anything like that. So if you want to support bitfeed.live, you can support the project right there. And then it has some controls over here on the right-hand side of the screen. I think very interesting project. And as we're watching this, I think it's something that's important to continue to monitor some of these projects like this. Okay. All right. So the next one I'm going to show is called, let me see if I can bring that one up. And that one is called hodl.camp. And if you guys are familiar with this already, that's great. I would love to hear your feedback in the chat. And if you're not familiar with this could be something that's new to you. My friend Logan, who's been on my show before, he showed me this week and showed me kind of like this one is interesting because if you have been, this shows you kind of like the Bitcoin entry and exit profitability. So like if you were this can show you if you're looking like right up here, see where my cursor is, up to the right of it, it shows if you were holding 2 years, 3 months, and 4 days between that period of time there in 2012, March 14th, 2012, and June 5th, 2014, if you were there for that particular time, your profit was up 12,187%. So it's very kind of unique and interesting, if you ask me, because these areas of red are not, those would be areas of loss, as you see kind of right there. But if you go and you're going out, say, 5 years, like this little dashed line out here, this is a period of, I believe it's the 5 years and 1 month kind of time frame. Then your profit between that particular time on the angled left entry, like June 21st, 2014, and you held for 5 years. Let's see if we can bring that up. That would be 20, right at the third halving. Did I screw that up? Yeah, I did screw that up. So basically, you can play with this and kind of see where you are. All right. Now, if we had, let's see, if we'd held on, well, this is very kind of difficult to see at some points, but I think it's absolutely an interesting thing because you start looking at, if you look at this area out here where this dashed line is, mostly it's green. If you look all the way up from the beginning of Bitcoin all the way out, if you hold 5 years, And I know a lot of people say hold on for 4 years. But if you hold on for 5 years, your profit is historically very, very high, very high. Okay? So interesting to see all of these different possibilities. So again, this is hodl.camp, and it can show you on the left this graphical representation here of the 0% versus the 10%. You're in the profit and also in the losses over here with the red and the orange. So take that for what it's worth. But historically speaking, I find that this is a very interesting graphical representation to look at. Again, hodl.camp. Thank you for this. Whoever put this together, I don't know the creator of this or where the origins of this are, but I think it's fascinating to look into this stuff. Yeah. Okay. So you see this little section right here. HODL line is 5 years and 1 month. Yeah, very interesting. So if you were on the HODL line for 5 years and 1 month between, let me see if I can do this without, well, I can't really see it that well, so try to get it well done here. As you can see, I'm a boomer, pleb, rookie at operating some of these projects here. If you were in the HODL line of 5 years and 1 month, your entry point, if it was 2019 in the month of April, April 9th to be exact, when the price was 53.11, and you exited at, yeah, this date down here on the bottom, which is kind of hard to read. It would be May 9th of 2024, and the price was hard to see. Your price, your what, about 60 something thousand, you would be you would be around 1,000% profit, according to this. So use it as you will, do your own research. This is not financial advice, but it is informational, and I hope that that's helpful to you. So with that, we move on. Very good to know about new projects and things. Let's take a look at the time chain calendar. And shall we see what's going on right now? We are currently at block 901929. The exchange price, according to the time chain calendar, is 104, 497, 490, approximately 490s. The number of sats, as I pointed out before, the number of sats per US dollar is on this chart 957 sats. Very cheap, very, very inexpensive, very great value. 957 sats for 1 US paper fiat cuckbuck, as they say. We will keep the show moving. That is important to note. Also, that our last block was at 11 minutes and 35 seconds ago, according to the time chain calendar, and it is an average of, let's see, the last 24 hours we only had 127 blocks and not the 144. That was the last 24 hours. So we are, according to the time chain calendar, the average block time is 10 minutes, 33 seconds, and the target is 10 minutes. So we're slow. And over a period of 24 hours, we're 42 blocks slow. So what does that mean? That means that kind of things need to kind of increase in terms of the speed. But Bitcoin is built to do that, and it will automatically have a difficulty adjustment period so that will catch up. And This is what's beautiful about Bitcoin. It does this inherently without your help, without my help. This is uh, it is it is dependent on the software that it runs on, but it is maintained and has many eyes watching it all the time, thankfully. So that's all we're going to say about the time chain calendar today. Now we're going to move on to, let's see, can we do this? Do we have anyone in the chat that can tell us if we are sharing correctly or not? I think we are, but I am going to move on to the current topic that I want to share, and uh, that is this story. And I'm not going to go too far into the details on that. It's kind of a small speed bump, if you will, in terms of the uh, Bitcoin adoption process at the state and local government level. But I think it's worth mentioning because it's the little things. Sometimes we move the ball down the field. Pardon my French. It's in Ohio, so everything is about football in the state of Ohio. Go Buckeyes! However, I would say that it's about moving the ball down the field, and you do those things kind of inch by inch, and sometimes you get major yardage. But in this case, this is kind of a small one. I'm going to go ahead and present this screen here. You're going to see some interesting things in Ohio. All right. So the Ohio HB, the state of Ohio, HB number 18, um, voted 13-0 to protect Bitcoin rights and exempt $200 from capital gains. So in essence, any Bitcoin transactions $200 or less will be exempt from capital gains in Ohio. And I think this is something that is not a big, huge deal. It's money. Why should you have capital gains on these transactions anyway? It's money that's being exchanged, and I agree that that there shouldn't be any capital gains on any amount of transaction. But like I said, we're moving the ball down the field, little bits at a time, right here, and we'll take it. We'll take the win. Thank you for Simply Bitcoin for reporting that. And moving on. I've got a couple of highlights here. The other thing on the federal level, we've got one here. This is from the Genius Act that is summarized here, courtesy of Bitcoin Laws. And the Genius Act, in the different sections on the right side of the Genius Act, we're going to just kind of review this a little bit. Who can issue stable coins? And this is stablecoin legislation that is being enacted, or is trying to be moved through the Senate. I believe it's now moving through the House. And if it moves through House and gets approved, it will go to the president's desk. And assuming that he likes that, and assuming that it does move through the Congress, that it will be approved and signed into law by President Trump at that time. This primarily talks about stablecoins, and there's language about a permitted payment stablecoin issuer. Excuse me. Insured depository or its subsidiary, federal qualified issue, or state qualified issuer. There are things that are spelled out for each of those. The qualification factors are ability to meet reserve requirements, previous felony offenses, and obviously that would be a disqualifier, and quote, competence, experience, and integrity, unquote, of officers. Reserves. 1-for-1 backing in Federal Reserve balances, cash, demand deposits, or treasury instruments. This could be very interesting. This could be, yeah, okay. Won't go down that rabbit hole. Rehypothecation is generally banned. So rehypothecation, kind of fancy word for those of you who don't know, it basically means rehypothecation means is kind of like another word. I'm going to make this analogy of fractional reserve banking that we have in the current system, where they can take dollars and they can reuse those kind of to lend them out, and they don't really have those in the bank. Okay, so rehypothecation is a similar kind of thing for Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, where they bring that in. They don't have to provide proof of reserves necessarily if they're going to rehypothecate that crypto. Again, in the context of our conversations, prefer Bitcoin. Okay, that's the preference, 100% all the time. However, if we're talking in the context of this Genius Act, they are looking at stable coins. So that's what this legislation is primarily designed for, is the stable coins. All right, so which deserves its own research. So generally speaking, for the newbies, don't worry about understanding every single term, but rehypothecation is not good. Okay. Okay, the next topic, redemption and disclosure. Clear procedure for timely redemption. Issuers must publish a monthly audited reserve report plus annual independent audit, and can't market stablecoins as legal tender or FDIC insured. Okay. Okay. Full disclosure there. Preemption, Fed versus state. Okay. I'm going to kind of blow through the rest of this. And you can read this at your leisure if you want to later. Custody, AML, BSA compliant, consumer and creditor, lots of stuff to kind of glaze your eyes over if you're interested. Okay, moving on. Let's keep going. Got to keep things moving. All right. So other news. June 17th, this came out from Bitcoin News. Iran's biggest bank just got wiped out in a cyber attack. Okay, this is not confirmed outside of Bitcoin News, but this is not a good thing in Iran. Again, traditional financial banking system, no ATMs, no cash. It's reported that all account records were reportedly deleted. And this is what financial war looks like, and how Bitcoin matters more than ever. Okay, thank you, Rob Wallace, if that is 100% accurate news from Bitcoin News, which we're going to take that with a grain of salt until we can confirm. But this is the kind of thing that I would say, if not if Bitcoin, but when Bitcoin. This is the kind of reason why Bitcoin is a store of value, why your traditional banking system is filled with all kinds of things that are evil and can be robbed and stolen, and that are your money in your bank is not your money unless your bank lets you have access to it. In this case, whether or not it was Iran's biggest bank that stole the money from their depositors, or if it was somebody else acting in as a hack job, or somebody else that did that, remains to be seen. But bottom line, those people that had their money in there are no longer have access to their money. Okay. Yes. Moving on. All right. This is another one. And these are some tweets that I've saved in X because of just the topical content of it. I think this is the total transaction value in 2024 for Bitcoin compared to Visa and MasterCard. Okay, you see these numbers down here. You see these numbers, compare these numbers, okay? These are, you know, when you look at this on the face of it, okay, let's just look at this. And thank you, Carl Menger. The total transaction value in Bitcoin is I would love to see the numbers that are behind this that say what the fees were for transacting this much Bitcoin versus what the fees were for transacting this much uh, transactions in Visa, and the same for the number of transactions for these trillions in MasterCard. I don't think that it's anywhere close. I think that Bitcoin is so much cheaper to transact in than these other ones. This is why Steak and Shake. One of the reasons why Steak and Shake, the fast food chain, started to transact in Bitcoin, because their credit card transaction fees were so much lower. Okay, duh. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that that's less money, more money in their pocket. And on Steak and Shake, I'm going to talk about them in just a minute again. I've talked about them previously on the show, and I want to have just a few moments to talk about Steak and Shake in just a few minutes. Okay, so let's keep moving. Keep moving. All right. So yeah, the Senate passed the Genius stablecoin bill. Okay, great. I'm not going to skip that one right now. I'm going to skip that one right now, and I'm going to go to this one right here. This one is this was interesting. This company, Klarna, has 100 million global users. Okay, 100 million global users. Klarna. They say they have apparently a $15 billion payments rail that they use, and they said they're going to start accepting Bitcoin. This is news. This is news. This is definitely worth talking about. This is definitely worth. You can have any kind of opinion you want on Bitcoin, but I'll tell you what, you cannot argue with more people that are interested in using it, more people that are adopting the ability to use it. Okay. And just because somebody adopts the ability to use it doesn't mean that that's going to change the world. However, if you give people the opportunity to transact with you in a way that costs less than what they've been using, like the costs over here are this much and the costs over here are that much. Are you kidding me? It's just a matter of time before all of this goes over here to get to this. I'm just saying, it's kind of simple math if you break it down. It's not that hard to figure out. All right. Treasury Secretary does what Treasury Secretary does. He says some things that trying to make people bullish. Okay, great. I'm not going to focus on him, but let's take a look at this one. This is interesting to me as well. The number of publicly traded companies with Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Let's take a look over here during the pandemic, shall we? Two companies. 33 companies in 2021. Moving on up to 2024, we had 64 companies. Guess what? It's more than doubled in 1 year. Okay. 151 companies that are publicly traded with Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Now, listen, I don't care what kind of background you have. You don't have to have a finance background. You don't have to have a financial advising background or a technical background or any kind of background to see numbers that double. Okay. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to figure out. Well, Bitcoin this and Bitcoin that. Well, you know what? Bitcoin this. Check it out. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm gonna just double down and tell you that things are moving in Bitcoin. Okay, just because you don't see it, just because the media ain't covering it, doesn't mean it ain't happening. Okay, while you're busy watching airplanes and bombs and stuff like that, I'm telling you, there's a financial war going on, and you are not seeing it. Okay, Numbers don't jump up and down and get in front of a camera. Okay, not usually. So might want to get some just in case it does something. Just saying. Just saying. However, this guy has a lot of my respect. Okay, this guy right here. This guy. If you don't know who this guy is, let me help you. Let me see if I can get a little. Okay, that's the better picture of him. All right. This guy right here, Lawrence Lepard, he wrote a book called The Big Print. And if you don't know about this book, you need to get this book and read it, especially if you're a baby boomer. Okay. He is, I mean, he's not exactly a spring chicken anymore, but I don't know if he's a baby boomer. But I will say this, he is very, very, he's got a high integrity level because you need to read the book to understand why I'm saying that. He's got a lot of guts. And I love the story that he told in there about some stuff that he did in a meeting in front of some people who were evil in terms of the financial world and things that people were doing evil things on Wall Street. This guy knows what he's talking about. Lawrence Lepard. And I will say this, I'm not at the level yet where I'm going to call him up and say, "Hey, sir, would you please consider coming on my show? Because I would love to interview you." I'm not there yet. Maybe get there, sometime. But I mean, I think time is of the essence. But I can't wait to talk to him and ask him some questions. But this is important. Okay, this is important. What he's going to say here, and I am going to turn this up so we can hear this. And it's. I think he has one word in here that is a choice word. So let's go ahead and listen to this. And let me double check some things. Make sure we're not anywhere doing anything we shouldn't be doing. Okay, we're good. Lawrence Lepard, you are the man. And I hope if you see this, you'll consider coming on my show because, dude, I love your signal. Forgive me, I'm a boomer and I can't help it, but I love Bitcoin and I just love talking to other people who love Bitcoin. Bitcoin. All right. Yeah, it is. Sorry, I get a little excited sometimes. Here we go. Ready?
He says we're going to get inflation back to 2%. He says we haven't lost control, even though he has. And the market believes him because the forward swaps are at 275 for 5-year inflation. It's bullshit, but people believe him. When things start to break, he will have to change his tune well before the inflation rate's 2%. And everyone's going to go, that's interesting. He really has lost control. He cannot get inflation down. All those guys who've been talking about inflation is inevitable, they are right. And then you're going to see just an enormous movement of capital from other things into our things. There's $450 trillion of fiat shit in the world. Cash, stocks, and bonds.
Cash, stocks, and bonds. 450. I'm choking on that number. 450 trillion? Help me understand this. Like, I can't even think numbers that big. Okay, I need to breathe. Okay, take a deep breath. Everybody, ready? Say it with me right now. $450 trillion. Okay, that's a big number. That's a big number. Very, very big. We're talking Bitcoin has what, maybe maybe over $2 trillion market capitalization today. Two trillion, maybe a little over. Whew. I mean, don't get emotional. Just try to let it sink into your cerebral cortex. Here we go. Let's hear that again real quick.
There's a fiat shit in the world. Cash, stocks, and bonds. All of Bitcoin, what is it today? 350 billion, 400 billion? So we're 450 trillion, 400 billion of Bitcoin. Let's call it 6 or 7 trillion of sound money. Bitcoin, gold stocks. Okay. 400.
Okay. So Bitcoin, gold, and gold stocks, 6 billion. Okay. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting this guy. I gotta let him take it away.
And 50 trill of unsound money, bonds, cash, and stocks. When a quorum of the people come to the conclusion that they can never stop printing and that it is inevitable that they will have to continue to print, they are going to say, please protect my assets in stuff that cannot be printed. All it takes, it doesn't take the whole 450 coming into Bitcoin or gold.
Okay. They're going to continue to print. You hear him say that? We're hearing this from multiple different sources. Okay. Luke Roman. Jack Mahler says this too. They're going to debase the fiat dollar down to the ground. You understand what that means? Lawrence Lepard just said it. They are going to print. You've heard drill, baby, drill. They're going to print, baby, print. Okay. Now you can, cry about that, or you can take some action and do something about that. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with your melting ice cube dollars that are sitting there melting in your hand? No, 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 no. You don't want that. You don't want to have melting ice cubes. You want to be on the train, not the train, but the rocket ship, okay, that doesn't go down, it goes up. And it's volatile. Yes. Okay, so we had, like 60% increase last year. Oh, it goes down 4%. Oh man, that's rough. No, it's volatile for a reason. That's baked into the cake. Don't let that scare you. It is what it is. And the financial picture that we have is what it is too. So it's serious as a heart attack, and you cannot make this stuff up. You need to be planning. You have to be, figuring out a way to preserve your wealth for the future. Your grandkids are going to have some questions for you. And if you don't have a good answer, that's not a good answer. Okay. I'm gonna just try to get off my soapbox here and let this guy talk. All right. Keep going, Lawrence. My apologies for interrupting you.
Not be printed. All it takes, it doesn't take the whole 450 coming into Bitcoin or gold for us to go way up in price. Even if only 10% of it comes in, that's $45 trillion chasing 7. How much does the value of our stuff have to go up? It's true that in 1980, when gold was very hot and very, everyone thought inflation would go on forever, right at the peak of that market before Volcker tamed it. Okay, in 1980, gold represented 20% of all financial assets, at that time. I mean, gold and Bitcoin today represent less than 1% of all financial assets. So there's plenty of upside here in the sound money stuff, if one assumes that they can never stop printing. And I believe that, with every bone in my body, I believe that. I think other people are coming to believe that, but for our stuff to work, we need more people to believe that. And, human beings do tend to, want to protect themselves. And so, as the word spreads and as the inflation continues to get bad or worse, more and more people are becoming aware, right?
Are we aware? I've been yelling it from the top of my microphone for months. Are we aware that things are going to get bad? That, I'm not a doomer. I'm not a, you know, whatever you call it. I'm an optimist, and my optimism springs from a sound money that we've been able to see in our lifetime, and it's right here. And the thing you want to preserve your wealth in is something that you cannot print more of. You know, uh, Gold is something that they can find more of.
I mean, more and more people are being orange pilled, more and more people are aware of inflation, more and more people are interested in gold. I mean, everyone kind of gets it. I mean, this thing is broken. I mean, California, let's send out checks to help with inflation. Oh, that's a good idea. Spain just announced they're doing that. I mean, it's these guys can't stop. We're in the right place, but sadly, it's not going as fast as I would like because we all have limited time on this planet. It's like let's rip this band-aid off. Let's get this over with. Let's just solve it. Powell is blocked.
Oh, goodness. Thank you very much, Bitcoin Buddha. I appreciate that. That is me. My apologies. We have no audio because I turned that off when I was struggling with my allergies. So, yeah, so um, we have a situation where uh, the the powers that be, you know, they're not going to be able to. I think what I was saying was that Jerome Powell they're going to figure out that Jerome Powell is full of hot air and he's not able to. Uh, just a second. Oh, the allergies are killing me. He's to uh, not able to kind of like prop things up anymore, and that there's going to be some kind of come to pay the piper time, and that people are going to figure out that he's not able to make any changes like he thinks he can. Uh, right? Yeah. So I think that's an important metric, data point that we'll kind of continue to keep our eye on. Um, yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so we've got that clip from Lawrence Lepard, simply Bitcoin, excellent one. Uh, I already talked about Klarna, talked about uh, Scott Bessent. Um, we talked a little bit about some of the things that he says. There's a short clip here. let's go ahead and let me just play this real quick for you. This is Scott Besant, and he's kind of talking about Bitcoin, but I would say just keep an eye on. They always referring to Bitcoin and crypto. It's like, oh, we're being politically correct. We don't want to mention just Bitcoin. We have to say it in this format: Bitcoin and crypto. It's like, what? Come on, man, get off the fence. Quit playing favorites with everybody. Just actually, let's talk about what your real agenda is here, okay? I'm pretty hard on the guy. He needs to be. Here we go. Let's listen to this real quick.
This administration's commitment to digital assets, it's innovation, because there's so many other things that happen around digital assets. And also, it's one of those things that it's one of the most important phenomena that's happening in the world, and the U.S. just ignored it. This administration.
Okay. Yeah, the U.S. just ignored it. Okay, fine. Again, Secretary of the Treasury doing what Secretary of the Treasury is paid to do, and that is, oh yeah, Bitcoin is great. Bitcoin is fun, and it's not going to be. I don't know. It's just not as exciting as. I don't even know. I don't even know where to begin when I talk about these politicians that are talking about this stuff. I'm going to move on because I'm tired of talking about the news cycle and the news things that are going on. One of the things that I wanted to talk about today was, this not if but when. It is just a matter of time before Bitcoin really does some amazing jumps in price. But I'm going to kind of keep this down close to the ground level. So if you're grounded and you do homesteading or something like that, I think that's kind of where I'm going to go with this today, because that's something I'm familiar with. This is kind of this parallel or this analogy that I'm making here with regard to Bitcoin and this homesteading journey and the Bitcoin journey is I think this is a good thing to keep in mind. So as you understand Bitcoin, it's not going to be something that you're all going to get all at once. Okay. This is the kind of thing that it's like with farming or homesteading. You're not going to figure it all out at once. You buy some land, or you buy some Bitcoin, and then you figure out, like, okay, what can I do with my land? How do I do this? And I know I want to do this, but how do I do it? I'm not quite sure yet. And if you've never done it before, you can't expect to know all about it. So that's the thing. It's a daily journey. You go in bite-sized chunks, and you kind of plant the seeds. The seeds are sort of planted, and then and you don't really know the outcome until sort of later, in terms of, like, am I going to be like this much in my knowledge, or am I going to be, like, is this going to pay out, like this much, or is going to pay out this much? You don't really know where the price is going to be. You don't really know what kind of, are my animals going to die? you know, uh, are they going to get to maturity? Are my chickens? I've been feeding my chickens, right? I've been feeding my chickens, and they haven't been laying eggs. I got faith that they're going to get to this point where they'll start laying eggs. And when they start laying eggs, beautiful. You keep the light on at night. You make sure they continue to lay eggs, because, man, they stop laying eggs, man. You're paying and you're not, right? So there's this whole, like, educational sort of thing that you have to go through. I'll give you a personal example. When I was homesteading, I was learning. I tried to do the hardest thing that I could. Okay, not intentionally, but I just had an interest in grafting heirloom apple trees. So I'm like, okay, So I'm going to do this thing. I'm doing heirloom apple trees, right? So I'm going to do this thing. Well, I didn't know it was probably one of the hardest things you can learn how to do is in homesteading is try to like graft and grow apple trees. Not easy to do, actually. Sounds easy, and it looks easy, but it's really not easy. The hardest thing about getting apple trees to produce fruit is actually getting them through the first 5 years of their life. If you can keep an apple tree alive for 5 years, you've gone through the hardest part. But I mean to tell you, it's getting them when they're little babies and all the way up to they're like 5 years old and now they're growing and they're like got good wood. You've been training and pruning these bad boys. It's awesome once you get there. But in Bitcoin, it's like, what do you have to do to kind of like, get there, right? The first 5 years. Okay. We talked about the first 5 years in the hodl.camp website I showed you earlier, right? I would say that it's like getting your Bitcoin on the exchange, right? You buy some Bitcoin, and then what do you do with it after that? Well, that's the thing. That's the path you're on. You're on you get some, and then what do? Well, you work towards, getting it in cold storage. You work maybe on a multi-sig. You eventually get to the point where it's like, I really don't want to have my Bitcoin laying around or have it sort of like, if anything happens, somebody could just kind of, rip it off or something easy. I don't want to be an low-hanging fruit, pardon the pun, to get, my Bitcoin stolen. So what do I do? How do I do that? And so you kind of like have to get through this period where you're kind of like, you've got through this first period of this time, and now you know what you're doing. You got it protected. You got it well secured. You've been a good steward of what you've been given. Okay, great. Fruit trees, same way. Got to get through that first period so that like, I'm going to get good fruit from this. This is going to produce some good fruit. And once you get there, at first, when you're right there in the small part, the trees aren't that big, but they're like 2, 3 years old, and they're trying to produce fruit. And you're like, oh, hey, I'm getting fruit. Guess what? When your fruit trees are small, you need to pick the fruit off of them. You don't want them trying to produce fruit when the wood and the little limbs are just barely, kind of like, hanging there, just, heavy with fruit and stuff. You pick the fruit off there, get it off so you can get good wood. You want strong branches. And how do you do that? You're not trying to get fruit off there first. It's like in Bitcoin, you don't want to try to like, you don't expect a lot at first. You just kind of save, you stack, you put away for future day. Now, I'm just like Lawrence in this, I don't have as much time on earth as maybe some of you or some other people. I would love to see Bitcoin do something great soon, but may not be on my schedule. Might not be a big boom like right now. Okay. Well, I'm just going to continue to build good wood. I'm going to continue to stack and stack and stack and stack, right? And steward that really well. So anyway, that's kind of a bit of my my homesteading parallel, my analogy. This again, I think the 10,000 foot view of this is, you're building something that lasts. There are many parts to it. The very first thing, and one of the first things that I wanted to do in my homesteading example, one of the first things I wanted to do was with regard to animals is I wanted to put fencing in. And when I realized is that, you don't want to put fencing in at first. You want to work with your animals and use some temporary fencing. Find out what you need to have in terms of permanent fencing. by experimenting with some things that are temporary, kind of like, use some scenarios that are like what ifs, like, you got your chickens or your turkeys or something, they're running around. Sheep is another one. And you can use temporary fencing to kind of like find out, because you don't want to put permanent fencing in just yet until you know exactly where you want your fencing to go. And anybody who's been homesteader knows this. You don't want to put fencing in the wrong place, because what if you put it in the wrong place? You're screwed. You have to because the last thing you want to do is be pulling out fence posts and, redirecting some, permanent fencing. What does this have to do with Bitcoin? It has everything to do with Bitcoin. Make sure you move slowly and at your speed. If you're new, you don't want to be moving at light speed. It's like reading a book. Don't read to the very end and find out what the end of the book is. Methodically go through and get your fencing in when you're ready and when you know for sure what you need. Okay. Again, you start off in Bitcoin and you think you have to have an inheritance solution on day one. No, you're not ready for that yet. You're not ready for that. And if you do, you're going to find out that, oh, that inheritance planning solution that I thought was really good I should have done more homework. And in order to do more homework, I kind of needed to be in this space a little longer and understand some things that are a little more to them than what I thought at first. I thought I had all this figured out at first, right? Well, no, you don't. But you don't know that when you don't know that at the beginning. So it's not, I was talking to somebody else about this earlier today. It's not the stuff that you don't know. No, I just gave it away. It's not the stuff that you do know that's really going to hurt you, because you know about those things. It's the stuff that you don't know that you don't know. And when you don't know those things, they can come by to bite you, and you didn't know it was coming to bite you. Ask me how I know. Okay. I've been bitten a couple times by stuff that I didn't know could hurt me. The housing crisis in 2008, prime example number one. That was the first time I lost a significant amount of money. And that one hurt the most, probably. But yeah. So, this whole example of the homesteading analogy, it's kind of designed to help you think about, what are the things, what are the things that you don't know that you don't know that you don't know, and I know we've kind of, probably a lot of you have heard that saying before, but it absolutely holds true in Bitcoin, just like it holds true in life. And if you're a baby boomer and you've seen some stuff and you are familiar with some things like this, it's the same kind of thing. This is why you are needed in Bitcoin. This is why your experiences are unique to you, and you bring some absolute 100% great things for other people to learn from in Bitcoin. And so if you're the kind of person where you have some integrity, you're interested in this project or that project, 100%, I encourage you to go for it, to get involved, understand what you're doing in Bitcoin and what you bring to the table, whether that's creating content, whether that's being like a technical advisor or helping somebody just because you can. I think it's a fabulous thing. I try to do this on a regular basis, but where you're adding value, you're doing something for somebody, and they didn't ask you to. It just kind of became obvious that this thing was needed to be done, and you were there to be able to help out with that. So I kind of do this sort of naturally. This is something that I do in my family quite a bit, as I kind of see what people are going through and what they need help with. And then I just kind of I gravitate towards trying to fill in the blank for them and stuff. Stand by real quick. Hang on. whew, man, I'll tell you what, it's a struggle with allergies, man. It's that season. I don't know why. I don't know why it is, but gotta talk about some people in the chat here. I actually wish I could see the. I don't have my second screen up here, but I'm going to actually try to bring up. Oh, wait a minute. Are we live on Zap.stream? I don't see us. I think I do see us on there, but we got one viewer on Zap.stream. So, amen. Love Zap.stream and love the whole project of Nostr. And if you're not on Nostr, you need to get on Nostr. It's amazing. What else do I want to say? I haven't put my QR code up there, but I just put it up, and I would say that so this QR code right here is if there's anything that you like about our channel, if we bring any value, and just kind of like if you're interested in zapping, this is the kind of thing that we love doing in Bitcoin is to, I mean, 10 sats, 20 sats, it's fabulous. I would love it because it's the kind of thing where we can add value to other people, and we're trying to do that. But this is not necessary. You don't have to do that. You don't have to subscribe to the channel. You don't have to like, but we love it when you do. But I've noticed a few people have somebody unsubscribed from the channel, and I have an idea. I think I know why, but that's okay. That's going to change who I am or what I'm doing, and I would say that I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and we'll see what happens. But anyway, so kind of on to let's see the other things I was going to talk about, and one of the things that I love about the growth of Bitcoin is that it doesn't really matter how many people are going to who are going to be agreeable or not agreeable. This thing is not stopping, and it's moving fairly quickly. And so the number of businesses, the number of individuals that are investing in Bitcoin, that are not investing but saving in Bitcoin, that are using it as a medium of exchange, it's growing, and it's growing like leaps and bounds. And I think we all understand that, or we should understand, hopefully we can understand that the value of the price is not really reflective of what's happening under the hood behind the scenes. And I think the value is grossly underrepresented. So as I bring these stories, and as you continue to see some things happening in terms of adoption, in terms of companies in the U.S. and abroad that are adopting Bitcoin, corporations that are putting it on their balance sheet, I think you're going to be very, very, very pleased that you have as much as you can possibly save in Bitcoin as time moves forward. And again, time is not something that we have a whole lot of. We have, it's very interesting to see, what Bitcoin's doing, what the world is doing in relation to Bitcoin. But I love the fact that in Bitcoin we can, no matter where we are in terms of time, in how much time we have in Bitcoin, that there's always room to grow. There's always room for everybody in Bitcoin. We want to encourage more people because this thing is going to rip, absolutely rip, and it may not do it all at once. But I mean, you look at how subtle it is, and you look at how little it's being talked about in the media. It's underrepresented. It's underreported. It's under everything. It's under the radar. And so you can't have something as big as what's going on under the hood with this thing to stay under the radar forever. It's not going to stay under the radar forever. Okay. It's going to be like, it's going to be like, can you imagine trying to keep electricity like quiet when it first was invented? You know, it's like, oh, you know, shh, don't talk about electricity because everybody's going to want that, you know, just, you know, like, are you kidding me? No, we need to talk about it. We need to talk about electricity. We need to talk about energy. We need to talk about Bitcoin. We need to get it out there. We need to talk about it for sure. 100%. And if you think it needs to be talked about, then you talk about it too, because we'd love to have a conversation about more Bitcoin conversations. Love it. 100%. So get off zero if creating is your kind of thing. So yeah, I just love it. I mean, you know, I love the people in Bitcoin too. And this is, I mean, just, I don't care if you're famous in Bitcoin or if you're not famous in Bitcoin. For all the famous people that are in Bitcoin, the people that you see, you know, talking about it and in businesses and things like that, imagine the people who are not famous, who aren't even here yet, haven't even like put their energy into Bitcoin just yet. We are at the beginning, folks. It is like so amazing. So, you know, I mean, I got my Bitcoin. Look, I got mine right here. So I'm going to keep my Bitcoin right here. You know, it's like, there's my Bitcoin. Here you go. All right. No, it's a hoot. I love it. I love it. And, I love a lot of the folks here. We've got some great people, and we're going to continue to try to bring good signal. I'm going to get some guests here that talk about knowledgeable stuff that I don't know about. We've had some great guests before. I'm going to have some more, and you're going to be able to hear a lot better people on my channel than just me. And I'm just thankful for all of you that kind of follow our channel, that subscribe, that give you a like. It's always great to see you guys. Clean Your Machine is in the chat. Clean Your Machine, you know, you've been around our channel for quite a while, and Bitcoin Buddha was here. We had an audio problem earlier. We got that taken care of. Tommy D, and thank you, sir. And everything divided by 21 million. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Thank you so much for the zap. Let me check it out. Let me see what you got there. Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. There we go. There we go. I see your zap. 821 sats. I appreciate it very much. Very much. And I love the picture too. I'm not retired. I'm Papa or something like that. Yeah. And okay, so we're moving on here right into got one last thing I'm going to be talking about. And you know, we did talk about this about printing, print baby print. And he this is just I'll just finish by reading this reading this section right here of this book. If there is any tampering with the monetary unit and the government allows such fraud to continue, the whole economy is threatened with a progressive debasement. It is not simply the monetary unit that will be debased, but also many other products. Any seller or producer who finds that his consumers are unwilling to accept price increases is forced to consider adopting the same corrupt practices as the silversmiths just to stay in business. Thus, a debased currency is like a giant engine of economic corruption. Where the rulers allow, not to mention promote, this sort of debasement, the whole society is brought under the temptation of adopting corrupt practices. Because money is the universally used medium of exchange, debasement of money is the most efficient yeast of corruption, unquote, that an economy faces. If governments allow this debasement, to say nothing of getting a monopoly over money and then beginning the process of debasement, the spread of immorality speeds up. Every economic enterprise is tempted to imitate the corruptors in order to stay in business. Something for nothing in the field of monetary policy eventually leads to disaster. And that is a quote from Honest Money, the summary of chapter 3. And that book is written by a guy named Dr. Gary North. And it was, very good book. I'm still kind of refer to that quite often. So I have a few moments. If you have any questions, feel free to just kind of put those in the chat. Got to take a pause here for a second. I've got a allergy break here, just for a second. Okay, gonna kind of finalize, kind of summarize some things here, and just say that number one, it's not a matter of if, but when with Bitcoin. It's going to be coming. It's going to be going up. It's going to be doing some things that it's never done before. And, there's a lot of people that have been saying that for quite a while. And if you're seeing this and it's, weeks or months or years after it does something big, listen, don't worry. This is it. You're not gonna. You don't want to rush things. You don't want to be, have fear in anything. Just work where you are. If you have conviction, if you understand what this thing is, that is a great place to be. But if you don't have that, don't worry about it. Just continue to do your due diligence. Money is not an easy thing to steward well. It's not an easy thing to hang on to. And it's also not an easy thing to receive advice about. So as always, if it matters to you, if it's something that you need to think about, I would encourage you to definitely think about it and to do the due diligence, do your own homework, do your own research. Make sure whoever you're talking to about it understands and is a good resource for you. And if you're not sure if that person or that source is a good resource or a good source of honest and good information that has is based in integrity, then just continue to try to find a good source that is a good source of information that is based in integrity and honest, and that deserves your trust. I rely on some folks who at Bitcoin Citadel. I am part of a team that has worked to create this thing called Bitcoin Citadel. I will tell you, I'm not an advisor there. I hope to be someday. I don't think I have the skills to do that yet, but bitcoincitadel.net is it's a new company. It's not going to be advertised and sponsoring companies, sponsoring other podcasts or anything. I talk about it here because I use them, I use the advisors there personally, and I believe in the integrity and the signal level, and the advice that I get is grounded. It's based and solid. And there are some things that they can do, and there are some things that they can't do. They're not going to be able to show you everything. There's a whole lot of work that you're going to have to do. But once you are interested, once you know that, and you're convicted that you do need some help, I think that is really something that you want to get some good, solid help with. And so that's what my encouragement would be. I don't care if it's Bitcoin Citadel or whoever you want to use. You're going to need to have some help at some point in your Bitcoin journey. And I believe that those guys, and not only guys, there is, it's not just men. There are women too, to help guide you in your journey on in terms of stewarding and securing your Bitcoin. And I don't think there's a better way for me to say that. But I am part of that group. I am, and I do believe firmly that or I wouldn't be part of that group. And yeah, so I'm not an advisor, but I do assist in ways that I'm comfortable in my current stage in my Bitcoin journey. So, that's full disclosure for me on that. I think that that's something you need to know. You need to know who, you need to know what, you need to know how, because it's the stuff that you don't know that can hurt you, that you don't know that you don't know. So do all your research, do all your homework, stay with it, continue to build signal, to build your skills, to stack your skills, on homesteading. Kind of circle back, you learn, when you go through, spring through summer, through fall, through winter, and you're back again the second year, those notes that you took the first year, that's going to help you the second year when you go back and you're like, yeah, I noticed these things that I was doing last year. That didn't work so well. I was a little late on this particular thing in that spring. I was doing stuff that I needed to be doing before that, or, just lessons learned. So, remember, the lessons that you learn now, the notes that you take now, they may not be as helpful for you as they are for your kids and your next generation. So be prepared as you do these things in Bitcoin. Remember, take notes, learn some things, and bookmark some stuff, write things down, do some journaling. That's not just helpful for you. That's helpful for your generations coming after you, because this asset is something that is going to be around for a very long time. And in that case, whether you're young or old, you want to have recorded history of what worked and what didn't work. Okay. So with that, I'm going to say, just say thank you for joining us. I appreciate each and every one of you that watch this. And again, we love the subscribes and likes, but you know what? If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. Find a good signal that works for you. And, look forward to interacting with many of you in the chat and, answering questions. If you got any questions about homesteading, like how to lose money, you just feel free to ask me, and I'll tell you all about how to lose money, because I've done a lot of that. But no, I'd probably just keep it on the positive side. Yeah, enjoy your day, enjoy your week, enjoy your summer, enjoy whatever vacation or traveling you're doing. And we'll look forward to seeing you back here at Bitcoin Generations, hopefully real soon. I've got some different kinds of guests coming, and different signals, different kinds of stuff coming up. So with that, I'm going to shout out and shout out my wife and family. Thank you so much for the support and all the things that you guys do for me, so I can do this show. And And again, we'll talk to you all later, and I hope you're having a great day.